So I've played Final Fantasy III a little more over the past couple of days, and there are a couple aspects of the game that really resonate with me. Firstly, the continued variance in the set pieces in the game really keep the game feeling fresh for me, and I continue to wonder and feel very excited about what's going to happen next. Instead of in other JRPGs just walking around and battling bad guys, and the most I look forward to is new loot, I'm always looking forward to how's the battle system going to be changing from encounter to encounter. I know the game really likes to play with those expectations by just popping characters into the fight and putting me in new locations and having people surround me and that sort of thing. Also, outside of battles, what's going to be happening as I explore new towns? Am I going to have another encounter where I have to split my group up and figure out strategically where people are going to be placed? Am I going to be riding another raft sort of thing? Am I going underwater? This sort of thing really keeps me coming back to the game and wanting to complete it, which is really refreshing. I also want to comment on the part of the game where the entire party gets split up into three groups, and you experience three parallel storylines. I thought this was really brilliant for a number of reasons. Firstly, it makes the story feel much larger. You're covering a larger geographic area by having people explore different towns and areas simultaneously, and also narratively makes it feel bigger. There are a lot of characters doing a lot of different things, and we need to track it all. It almost becomes kind of a Game of Thrones sort of story, where this entire world's happening, and it's not just about one person. This also gave me an opportunity to get to know the characters a little bit better. I had a chance to learn more about what their motivations were, why they're involved with this conflict, some of the driving forces that made that person who they are, be it a conflict between brothers because of a family death, or maybe an honorable man whose family had been murdered mercilessly. The game gave its characters room to breathe, and made them about more than just the abilities that already make them stand out. It played to the strengths of a JRPG, using narrative and character development and just a slight peppering of melodrama to really give each of the characters their own space. And in the realm of getting to know the characters, that I also got to learn a bit more about how their abilities worked. This gave me ample opportunity to practice how the sword technique works, or how different blitzes work. And this was really where the beauty of this aspect of the game came in, because I got to train with all these abilities before I end up having to choose which subgroups I'm going to ultimately work with later in the game. It acted as kind of a tutorial and feeding back into that variance piece of the game all at the same time. It is very elegantly done. Overall, I keep coming back again and again to Final Fantasy III's overall goal is to tell a large story rather than providing a challenging game. I say this because as I go through the game, I don't have to put a lot of effort into leveling my characters and making strategic decisions about what items they have. The game kind of just flows with itself. As long as I choose a group of characters that are just in complete conflict with one another, I can do fine without thinking too hard. But instead, each of the characters' abilities facilitate continuing the variance of the game, where I have to act slightly different with each character I play as. It also gives each of them an identity that haunts me a little bit. I can remember a certain character and how he might play in a particular type of conflict, instead of them just being facades with one guy with a sword, one guy with magic. They are very different identities in my mind. And the final continuing thread of the game that I appreciate is Kefka's continued reveal as kind of this immoral, disgusting person. Especially when he goes and poisons the waterways around the castle that he's sieging. This shows that he doesn't care much about what happens to other people. He wants to get what he wants done very quick. And it slowly starts with him being a comical character, and then he does more selfish things and now more immoral things, and they're ramping him up to be this really disgusting creature, and I'm really excited to see where they go with it. It keeps me engaged, and it keeps me excited. So +1 to Final Fantasy III for that.